And welcome back. Let's talk more about managerial accounting and what it does for us and why we're using it and some of the concepts associated with it. So, we're going to be looking at mission, goals, and strategies. You've probably heard of mission, vision, and values. That's the external exposure that a company displays and says, here's what we're about, here's what we're doing, and here's kind of how we're going to do it. Well, we are from an internal perspective, which is what managerial accounting is all about, looking at the mission, goals, and strategies to achieve those goals. So if we're talking about mission, mission is purpose. We're helping focus the activities of the organizations. And it all goes back to the mission. But mission is not just about dollars, not just about profits and direction, and it is about direction. We can't always measure it. How about a goal? A goal is measurable, it's definable, and a target that we can track and we can attain, and then we can measure against to see if we are getting what we want based on the goals. That mission and goals gives us purpose. So we have a unifying purpose to get where we want to go, and we have a mechanism to evaluate it. So what's a strategy all about? Well, the strategy is the actions we take to achieve those goals. And managerial accounting gives us a roadmap, so to speak, of a path to attain those goals that we seek. And we evaluate, we can go in various directions. Sometimes we might contract out for things, sometimes we might do things in-house. These are decisions we're making to achieve our goals, and there are advantages and disadvantages to go with that as well. So let's take a look at a couple of types of organizations. We're dealing mostly with for-profit. The profit is, I will say, the primary objective, although that is evolving. We'll talk about the triple bottom line in a little bit. And then there's not-for-profits. What's interesting on the not-for-profit side is they have a board of directors, just like corporations do typically. They have assets, liabilities, they have revenues and expenses. But one of the big differences, they don't have ownership or equity. There's no dividends given out to the folks on the board. There's no dividends paid to anybody because there's no ownership associated with the nonprofit. The technical term is fund balance, but everything you've learned in financial accounting does apply to nonprofits. Almost everything applies to nonprofits as well as for-profits. But managerial accounting can be used in both environments as well, just like as financial accounting is. So let's go ahead and we're looking, strategic planning. So what is our plan? What is our direction? What are we trying to accomplish? So a couple of things may be cost leadership. We want to be low cost producer. If we're the low cost producer, now we have two options. We can sell at a higher price and make bigger profits, or we can sell at a lower price and seek and to attain market share and have more sales. So we still have to do it profitably, but we can't really, and sometimes we pursue both. We might have some higher end products and some lower end products. And we might try to differentiate ourselves. If you want the higher end products, we get the higher margins. And we've got what we're doing with the lower end products. We could be low costs and be real aggressive on that end as well. And there's something called loss leaders you probably heard at. Anybody talks about Costco or Sam's Club chickens, they probably cost more than $5 to buy, produce, and package and get to the customer. But the advantage of a loss leader, and why they say they put it at the back of the stores, is you're gonna walk in. No one walks in and buys a chicken and walks out. So they usually go through other aisles. They go, oh yeah, I need some more meats. I need some more fish. I need some more frozen stuff, whatever it might be, dairy stuff, or car mats, or cleaning supplies, whatever it might be. You're buying more stuff than just a chicken. The other side of planning is, what is your competitive advantage? What's your uniqueness? And with the perception of uniqueness, you can have a premium price. And that's kind of cool and kind of powerful, something you want to do. And then you can focus on a market niche. That niche can be something specific that you do that nobody else does, or that you do better than anybody else. And if you don't have competition, you have that flexibility to, again, raise the price when you're differentiating what you have and what you're offering. All right. So let's talk about goal attainment. We are looking to attain certain goals and directions. It could be a profit level, it could be a market level, market penetration level, but we have budgets. So we do careful budgeting, we analyze our costs, and we have regular monitoring of performance. And as here it says frequent and detailed performance reports. So we want to know how we're doing. We compare our budget to actual. Nonprofits do that all the time. For-profits do that all the time. And yes, you really do want to have a budget. And down here you see budgeted cost, actual cost, what's the deviation from budget, and it can be favorable or unfavorable. So it's favorable if we're ahead of the game. So our costs are actually less than our budget. Our revenues can be more than our budget, and that's obviously favorable as well. And we have a deviation, and we had that horizontal analysis, budget minus actual over actual, actual minus budget over budget. And we kind of figure out how we deviate from the budget. Then we have in management concepts, planning, organizing, and control cycle. And you've probably heard of this in a management class. But planning, we set the goals and strategies, the directions. Then we execute or organize, we get people to implement those plans. And then we're controlling knowledge of results to help with future planning. And you think of it like a thermostat. All right. So your thermostat set at 65, you're kind of cold, you put it up to 68, and the heat comes on. When it reaches 68, heat goes off. If it falls back to 67, 66, it'll kick on and come back to 68. And that's part of the cycle of the managerial cycle, but the planning, organizing, and control cycle that goes with that. We'll take a quick look at an org chart, formal relationships. I remember when I was an undergrad and they told me about the C-suite, and I said, oh, isn't the B-suite and the A-suite better than the C-suite? And no, we know what the C-suite is, the chief level, chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief information officer. So the C-suite, which often gets marketed to, includes the president and the VPs and the heavy hitters that are the decision makers. But having an org chart, seeing where people are, and there is line and staff positions. We have the line positions or the actual folks in the value chain and the actual folks that are producing things, doing things. And then we have the staff position, the accounting, the legal, the folks that are not directly producing, but if it wasn't for them, we still wouldn't be producing a whole lot either. And we have that controlling of that goes with this. So with planning with goals, we implement the plans, require the development of sub-goals and the assignment of responsibility. We delegate to get things done. And then we issue authority to take action and implement the plans. Other managers get into the game. And then the controlling feeds back into the next planning stage. So it's a great circle route coming through. Let's talk about some new trends and some not so new trends, but we're analyzing the trends in the business environment and how that impacts what we do. And managerial accounting is on top of these trends because it really directly impacts our costs. It impacts the decisions we make, how we hire, who we hire, where we invest. So competition. Well, let's talk about competition. It's a global economic system. How many countries does the iPhone have parts from? And who the heck knows where it's made and where it's assembled and what we do with it. But most things these days are getting pieces and parts from a wide swath of the globe. And telecommunication advances. Some people remember what a toll call. I was just talking to somebody about long distance calls earlier. Now there's almost no such thing. I don't think a lot of people even know what they are. But telecommunications and communications have evolved. Computers and data processing. ERP systems, enterprise resource planning systems. So if someone orders a Tesla, now that kicks into gear. It used to be Dell did this, Dell computer, but you would have, okay, I got an order, let's kick it into gear. Now we go back and order the pieces and parts, assemble the computer or assemble the car, whatever custom options are decided. If we need to get from suppliers other pieces and parts, we get those as well. This ERP system manages the cycle. And then we have transportation systems to get the goods going where we need them to go. And those are part of the process, and supply chain has grown in a big way and making it so that we get what we need when we need it. Back to our planning, organizing, and control cycle. You do want to know about planning, organizing, and controlling. The quality, degree to which products and services meet the customer needs. Then we have the supply chain and the service side, timely delivery, sales personnel, support. If there are problems, if there's anything going on, we need to address that and serve the customer or the client. And then on the cost side, there's initial purchase price, but there are also operating and maintenance costs. As you probably know, most new car dealers don't make the big bucks selling new cars. They make the big bucks selling service, which will be interesting when electric cars that require less service adversely affect the profitability of many of these dealerships. So managerial accounting helps companies effectively balance the trade-offs between quality, service, and price. Then we have big data. With big data, that is really the future. I'll call it an age of information overload. And with that overload of information, we have methodologies to analyze that. And there's all kinds of advancements in technology to analyze those vast amounts of data. But if somebody wants to get into a mushrooming field, big data and data analytics is the place to go. Tools like Tableau, Microsoft Power BI. If you've been exposed to those, and you actually have in this class, we've done some Microsoft Power BI reading. You read a chart or graph and you see the level, and then you do some analysis from that. So what will successful companies do? Well, they use data to analyze trends, see what the direction the markets are going, and see how they're going to get there. Data mining and extraction. They'll pull pieces and parts and chop, slice, and dice all kinds of data that will aid in decision-making, which follows up with the analysis, because you need to analyze the data to make those operational decisions. And improvements will be recommended. You'll say, based on the data, here's the direction we want to go. How do we improve our process? And we will go forward in managerial accounting, use the tools to do that. And then we have strategic thinking, direction, execution. We want to think forward, and we need to be strategically thinking all the time. And then we also manage risks. Enterprise risk management. There's always risks. There's an organization called COSO, and they're sponsoring organizations that founded by AAA, American Accounting Association, the AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, FEI, which is more of a lobbying group, and a national group of VPs of finance, CFOs, Financial Executives International. I actually served on the board of FEI, Northeast Wisconsin, IAAA, Institute of Auditors, and the IMA, Institute of Management Accountants. And these are folks that created and identified things to help manage risk and understand risk, because risk is all around, and businesses need and want to reduce risk, whether it's cybersecurity and cyber risk, whether it's weather risk. They want to mitigate some of the effects of what's going on. Mitigating those effects will allow companies to achieve their objectives as an organization. And when you understand what those risks are and the potential costs, we basically, as management accountants, can devise strategies to better predict and minimize that exposure. So you want to reduce that risk for ultimate growth and success. That concludes this segment. And for this chapter, we'll have another segment we go through to get some additional insights onto where we're headed. So I will thank you for sharing your time and look forward to continuing to move forward on managerial accounting.